Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There may be time for public participation as indicated by agenda item or as directed by the president. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. The meeting will be electronically recorded and will be kept on file in the superintendent's office. A copy of the audio recording will also be available on the NLCS website. And now for all of those who are able, could you rise and uncover for the pledge? And Mrs. Miller, do you want to lead us? For the record, we have two board members who are absent, Mr. Parsley and Mr. King.
And then, Dr. Miller, if I can, I would like to make a motion to amend the personnel agenda to add Kurt Godlewski as the varsity boys basketball coach at B&L under E2.
Okay, so there's a motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Miller makes a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. That motion carries. So next, C3 is review for approval of the minutes of an executive session memo from April 20th, 2023, and the same for May 4th, 2023, and minutes from our May 11th and 18th executive memorandum. So I would entertain a motion to approve all of those.
So moved.
Mr. Lombrick makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bailey makes seconds. Any discussion on this motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. D1, persons to address the board. Do we have any cards? Okay. All right, I will turn it over to Mrs. Muter.
Okay, presentation of claims and payroll since last board meeting in the amount of $3,801,925.66.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the number that Mrs. Muter just gave us. Mrs. Miller makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bailey seconds. Do we have any discussion or questions on that motion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next.
First on the personnel agenda, I make a motion to approve Tamitha Bailey as B&L Athletic Administrative Assistant.
Okay, to entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Lambert makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay, so that still carries. Go ahead.
And next, motion to approve the personnel agenda as presented.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the personnel agenda as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Bailey makes a motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion? And so this will include the addition of the basketball,
Yes.
Kurt Godlewski for the basketball coach. Okay, just in case that's for the record. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, next is motion to approve a transfer of $377,673.53 from the rainy day fund to the food services account. This will allow us to close out the food service bank in our financial system, and this was from the State Board of Accounts audit.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Lombrick makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Collier seconds. Any discussion on this motion? So this is, I just have a question. So this we're just closing out, we're not losing any money or spending any money, we're just transferring.
Yeah, well, we're transferring it from the rainy day to
To
the
the
food service.
Food service,
Mhm.
okay.
Yes. It's to clear up
To
one
clear
of
up
the issues.
That, the issue, okay, thank you for that explanation.
Mhm.
Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, next.
Next is request for approval of the Stepping Stones Group Service Contract for the Special Education Department.
And that's in our packet.
Mhm.
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mrs. Collier makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bailey seconds. Any discussion on this motion? Is this a group that we've used before?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We've
Just
been
one-
using them for a long
We've
time.
been using them for a long time, so it's not a new one. Okay.
No.
Then all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And last is approval for Mr. Kevin Yancey to make necessary hires as needed to have a full staff at the opening of school.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for that. Mrs. Miller makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bailey seconds. Any discussion? I would just like to verify that that means that he can hire them, but then, and they can work sort of on a probationary basis, but they're not officially hired until the board.
Correct.
Right. So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Now, Tricia Hudson for curriculum.
Good evening. I have 3 items on the agenda. The first being the wellness policy. And your copy is definitely marked up, but you can see
Yes,
the edits
we
and
have
the revisions that have been made. So Dr. Halleck helped us with that using our Neola policies, and also Dr. Megan Shipley. She's our county health coordinator, school health coordinator for Lawrence County. She serves Mitchell and Bedford. She is at a conference tonight, or she would have brought this, but she will be here for our July meeting, which will be the second reading of the wellness policy. So this is just the first reading.
Okay.
Are there any questions, or can I help explain anything?
Like a lot of things taken out. Have things changed since we adopted it the first time? Is it?
So the things that are marked out by hand, that is the actual Neola policy, and we have to select from the list which ones we would like to
Okay.
use. So it's not that those were previous parts
Gotcha.
of the wellness policy. Those are just what we could possibly put in.
Okay.
Okay, and we don't vote on this, right? It's just the first reading?
It's just the first
Right,
reading.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions for Mrs. Hudson? Okay, you can move on to your next item.
The next item is something that Lucas Calhoun and Brandy, our tech director, our previous tech director, worked diligently on for quite a while, and it's upgrading our current smart boards in our classrooms. So you have in your information, in your packets, a lot of information that he prepared for you about how the age of the smart boards that we have, that they are really not even able to be updated anymore. The software doesn't update. They're very much outdated. And so in an effort to improve that technology in our classrooms, we would like to use ESSER 3 funds to purchase Promethean boards. They looked at a couple of different vendors, and they definitely went with the vendor that gave us the best deal on the Promethean boards, but they did a long teacher pilot program where they had teachers come in, gave various times during the day, during the school week, before and after school, so teachers could come in and try out a couple of different models, and then those teachers left exit tickets when they left, saying what they liked, what they disliked, and ultimately it was up to the teachers to decide which they would prefer, and the overwhelming majority chose the Promethean boards. So the teachers that participated in that pilot and coming and trying those out will be receiving the Promethean boards first. Each building will also receive the Promethean boards that will travel. So we'll also have one here at the administration building.
Okay.
You can see the number there
Yeah.
on the first page. So, and then Lucas put together all the Google form responses for you, so lots
Yeah,
of
I
feedback
saw
from the
that.
teachers. But he did a great job just with getting teacher input and making it possible for our staff to try those out and see what they liked.
Okay. All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve the interactive whiteboard purchase as just presented. Mr. Lambert makes the motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Miller seconds. Any more discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, one more.
My last one is a return to in-person instruction plan, which might at this period of time not seem so relevant, but our ESSER 3 funds require us to have a return to in-person instruction plan that's updated periodically, and then that it will be posted on our website by July of 2023. So we are getting ready to post our latest revision, but we would like permission to make some edits and revisions to the policy that was last updated in January of 2022.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the request to edit and submit the final back-to-school plan for IDOE compliance.
Second.
Mrs. Miller makes the motion, Mr. Bailey seconds. Any discussion on the motion? And just to be clear, so this is COVID related.
It is.
Yeah.
It was the first draft was due like in 2020, summer of 2021, and so we've gone through various edits over the last couple of years. It's just that they've given us all this time to come up with
Okay.
a final plan.
And if board members want to see that edit, they can. before it's
Absolutely.
submitted. Okay. All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Mrs. Redmond here? There she is.
Good evening. I am here to request permission for 5 members of my staff and myself to attend the Making Schools Work Summer Conference hosted by the Southern Regional Education Board July 18th through the 21st in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, and we have that information here, so I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Lombard makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
So Mickey Mouse teacher.
No, that's the evening.
Just wondering why they never had these in like North Dakota,
Yeah.
something
You
like
know,
that. We're there for business.
SREB has a contract with Gaylord, so this was at in Texas, in Fort Worth, Dallas, last year. It's in Nashville next year, in the coming year.
Okay. Well, Mrs. Miller seconds. Do we have any more discussion on the motion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think Mr. Underwood is presenting on behalf of Mr. Callahan.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Miller. I'm requesting approval of overnight camps for girls cross country, boys cross country, and boys basketball. It's in your packet. Girls cross country is going to Paintown. Boys cross country to Starve Hollow, and boys basketball camp at Indiana State. Thank you.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve. Mrs. Miller makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bailey seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
Starve Hollow just seems like an odd place to go for a they're really camping. It's not just saying they're camping. They're camping. There you go. I guess if you're just going to run, all you need is your legs. So
Good trail. There's really good trails there.
yeah,
So
okay.
it's a great place to
Interesting.
condition. Yep. Okay. So any more discussion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now my agenda ends here, but is there more? Don't we have persons to address the board again that are not relevant to the agenda? Okay. So, so any persons to address the board not relevant to the agenda? Just want to make sure people have an opportunity. Well, ours is blank.
Did we get, Donnie was here, did that get pushed off of the,
I think it's on the back.
okay.
Thank you. I was like, well, I knew there was supposed to be more. Sorry, Donnie. Mr. Zolman.
Alrighty, I'm here to ask the board for approval of purchasing bleachers for Jeff Callahan for the softball, baseball, and soccer field.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Bailey makes a motion. Mr. Lombrick seconds. Any discussion on the motion? And just to be clear, this is something that the board before us voted on in terms of the funding for this. This is not coming out of the bond. Correct.
Yes.
And it's already been budgeted, so I just want to be clear, it's not taking money from any other of the projects that we've talked about, because I know that can be a little confusing.
And there were great needs. I mean, it wasn't like we're getting rid of some pretty faulty equipment.
Yes, we are.
That last year, one of them actually collapsed backwards at the soccer field, and we could have had a lawsuit on our hands. So.
This here will be for softball, baseball, and soccer.
At BNO. So the project that you're talking about, that's coming out of,
You've been working on, you've been buying, boards, treated lumber for the.
Oh, Parkview. Yes, we're getting some estimates on.
Yeah. So that's
replacing-
not this one,
No,
right?
because we got 3 sets of
Separate thing.
bleachers.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And now, persons to address the board. If you have anything relevant or not relevant to the agenda. Okay, so our upcoming meetings, our next meeting will be July 20th. That's our next public meeting. If there's any executives or work sessions added, those will be advertised. With that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Lambert makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bailey seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?